Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and this is our weekly TV news show where we talk about pilots, renewals, cancellations, series in development, all that kind of thing. We work our way through the stuffs, and sometimes there's some big stuff, and sometimes there's some little stuffs, and this is more of a little stuffs week. Well, and the reason why I say that is because when I was picking, like, okay, what's my opener, what's the headline topic, it's a bit lukewarm. It's not.
There wasn't anything Star Wars related this week.
Thankfully, no.
Yeah.
Thankfully, no.
A lot of rumors going around this week about it, but nothing official. So we'll talk about when it's official.
We are not here to discuss rumors. Let me make that very clear.
I agree, which is why I didn't actually bring any details in.
Right, good. Well, you keep your rumors to yourself. We're going to start off with news of a Witcher prequel. Netflix have announced this week a limited series, which will be set. Tell me here a minute. Actually,
1,200 years, I believe.
Exactly how long it is, but yeah, The Witcher Blood Origin is a limited series. It'll be a 6-part live-action show and a prequel to the Witcher TV series. Set in an elven world 1,200 years before the world of The Witcher, the show will chart the origins of the very first Witcher and the events that led to the pivotal conjunction of the spheres, where the worlds of monsters, men, and elves merged to become one.
Yeah, I'm not sure I needed this. And I say that as someone who actually ended up enjoying the first season of The Witcher quite a bit. This is an unusual choice, especially this is the same like showrunner who's doing this as well. So it's like just focus on the main story first. You can come back and do prequels afterwards if you absolutely insist.
I wonder if this is because they can have this shooting concurrently with the regular season 2. So this is like
possibly
a quicker, not necessarily to get out before season 2, but even if it's like between season 2 and 3, it's a way that you have a quicker season of The Witcher in between 2 seasons because they've shot it more or less the same time. They've overlapped it a lot, at least.
Yeah, it might end up being like mid-cycle because I know they've got the animated show in the works as well. That was a prequel as well, but it was a side story. That was another limited thing that was just an animated one, which I assume was planned for between season 1 and 2. If this is planned for between 2 and 3, I can see why they want to hit that mid-cycle and keep it in the zeitgeist a little bit more, I guess.
And it maybe just kind of further shows how happy they are with the performance of the first season, that they're determined to have more consistent Witcher content coming out. Maybe that makes sense. I watched the first episode, did not like it, so I will not be watching any more of any of these, but it's clearly hitting some buttons for some people because they're very happy with it. We got a premiere date for Star Trek Discovery Season 3 finally. That is coming October 15th, 13 episodes, 3rd season. And notably, they were really bragging about it this week that it's coming. It's coming right after the 10-episode season of Lower Decks finishes. So they're bragging about it being 23 straight weeks of Star Trek.
Well, they're like almost halfway towards their goal.
They are. The real problem is, though, are they going to have any of these other shows ready after Discovery? Probably not.
Almost certainly not, because what's next? I mean, I guess season 2 of Picard would be next in production.
Season 2 of Picard, we got whatever the Pike one's called. I've forgotten the name of it.
Is that official yet? I can't even remember.
Yeah, that was been official. It's got a title and everything. I just can't remember what the title is, but yeah, it was been official. So you've got that. You've got Section 31 in the works.
Which is a long time coming, but they still even said then it's probably going to be after this season of Discovery. So,
and well, that's this point, obviously.
No, I mean but they said that a long time ago. It was always planned for at least after this.
Yeah, but we're already here. We're at Discovery Season 3, so it's more relevant to the conversation now.
I guess.
Right, so we got those 3, and then presumably you would imagine eventually Season 4 of Discovery and maybe Season 2 of Lower Decks or whatever. The problem is that if they were going to have any of those ready for right after Discovery, the most likely one... I'm not even sure what the most likely one would have been. There probably would have been a bit of a gap, but obviously the pandemic is going to have slowed down anything that's coming after Discovery a little bit, but we'll see. I mean, Picard might be the one that's delayed the furthest just because Patrick Stewart's so old and they have to...
Possibly. I think otherwise that would have been the next in line because production would have been a lot quicker to go on season 2 of that compared to everything else starting up.
I'm making the assumption here, of course, that they didn't shoot any of Picard season 2. They very well might have done before.
Yeah, I don't know how far into that they were. Who knows? Did we ever get an official version of the? I remember when all these shows were kind of rumored, and they all kind of came true, barring one, which I think was the ones in the Academy.
Yeah, it never came true. The miniseries, as of yet, have not came true. But that doesn't necessarily mean that none of these will happen. It just means that they've not got around to actually announcing them yet.
Yeah, because some of these, like that Pike one, took them a while to announce, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, that Pike one was never in that list, though, because I remember that list.
That was a spin-off from the reception that they got in Discovery, I believe. But, I mean, from the moment Discovery finished, we were like, so they're doing a Pike show. And then...
It's what's funny, though, is that they seem to have the belief, or they want us to have the belief, that it was the reaction that made that show happen, where we were saying in the Discovery finale that, wait, they built this Enterprise set, they're going to use this for more. This is definitely leading to a show. Yeah,
and then we had the short trek in it, and we were like, no, this isn't enough. This is still going to be in a show. They didn't spend this much time and effort on it.
Maybe nothing was guaranteed, but I think the people working on it were hoping to make a show.
I suspect that is likely.
That is at the least what's happened here. But anyway, so October 15th for Discovery Season 3, which is cool. Hopefully it can continue the trend of getting better, because Season 2 was still not perfect, had a lot of problems still, but was noticeably an improvement on Season 1. So hopefully Season 3 can continue that. I saw someone say online that maybe because Michael's hair is changing, she's going to have like braids or whatever, rather than short hair.
Is this like Riker's beard?
Right, yeah, they were hoping this is the Riker's beard / shaving head of Cisco in Deep Space Nine, because in the early seasons he has like, I think, no facial hair, and then in later seasons he's got a goatee and a bald head. So I think, and that's when the good seasons are. So much like Riker getting the beard, the show gets better. So
I'm all for it. Honestly, Season 2 was a massive step up. It faltered towards the end, I would say, but overall it was enjoyable.
And we always kind of knew it would, because the plot they set up was sort of like, this is definitely going to be shit at the end, but a lot of the individual stories before we get there were pretty enjoyable. So hopefully Season 3 can solve some of those problems. I mean, Alex Kurtzman's still involved in a lot of this stuff, so I'm not feeling hopeful.
That's true, but he was heavily involved in Season 2, and overall, Yeah,
and Picard Season 1, so I mean, his batting average is...
I mean, if you count everything he's done, his batting average is terrible.
I don't know, terrible's not even harsh enough. Like a nuclear disaster? Like, can we spin that
get into that range? Yeah.
So yeah, Star Trek Discovery Season 3 is coming October 15th. You can look forward to our discussions on those. We got a trailer and a release date for a Netflix show called Teenage Bounty Hunters, which is coming August 14th, so just a few weeks away. This is a comedy action show about two teenage girls who I think are twins, who end up becoming bounty hunters for someone who hires them. They have like an ice cream shop or whatever it is like a front, but they're actually bounty hunters. And the show very much is all about the comedy. There's a lot of, I mean, the opening kind of gag that kind of get the premise for us is that this guy's like, oh, I almost shot you because you snuck up on me, you teen girls, you better be careful. And she says, oh, don't worry, we'll use ours. And she whacks him in the head with a gun. So it kind of gives you this kind of poppy. I watched this actually for the first time yesterday, the trailer on stream. And my initial reaction was basically that it was kind of going for, what was the first thing I compared it to? I was saying it was something with a bit of Barely Lethal in it. What was the first thing I said it was? Damn it, I forgot. It was a really good comparison.
Nice Guys?
No, it wasn't Nice Guys. I think it was something more teen based.
Like the more teen drama-y.
Yeah. Because it's a high school show. It's these two teen girls, but they happen to be... Oh, no, I think it was Booksmart. That's what I compared it to. It was Booksmart.
Okay, sure.
Meets...
Barely Lethal.
Barely Lethal.
I can see that. Honestly, my reaction watching this trailer is I will either love this and it will become my new favourite thing for 3 weeks, or I will hate it after one episode. There will be no middle ground. It's
hard to tell with comedy, and the reason why I thought of Booksmart is because a couple of the line deliveries reminded me a lot of the line deliveries in Booksmart.
I can see that.
And the girls were funny in Booksmart, so that's not a complaint. Like if they can reach that level of comedy consistently,
I loved Booksmart more than you did. I absolutely loved that movie.
So I mean, if they could pull that off, I can definitely see that. The problem with comedy trailers, though, and I was saying this yesterday in the stream, that you can have a good trailer that becomes a good thing, or you can have a bad trailer that becomes a bad thing. But with comedy, it's so very easy for it to mix and match and be a bad trailer that ends up being good because the trailer was poorly cut and didn't have the right timings for the jokes. Or on the alternative side, you can have all the good jokes in the trailer, and then it turns out the actual thing is devoid of actually good jokes, and the few that are good were the ones in the trailer. So you can really go in any direction from a comedy trailer, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Tonally, like I say, I think I might love it, but just in terms of this could be a lot of fun. This isn't going to be a super serious. We're going to have really deep discussions about this show, but I might have so much fun with it, or I will despise it.
It's a very
there is very little middle ground.
It's a very fine line, I think, as well. I think. Yeah. I think that's why you're saying the tone might be a great thing, or you might hate it. I think all it takes is a few notches over a line, and it's something that goes from really inspired to really tedious and annoying. Like
it could be so close to just I can see it already potentially in the trailer. Again, it might not be, but I can see the potential for it to be really grating and just annoy the shit out of me. Or I say I could love it and I could just be laughing constantly.
It'll be a curious first episode review then, if nothing else.
I'm looking forward to trying it, for sure.
And seeing what it's like. So yeah, interest is peaked, I suppose. Which I suppose, as far as trailers go, is it's kind of the best thing it can achieve.
It's got us willing to open the front door, right? So it's done its job.
Yes, let's just hope it's not got Rohypnol in its pocket.
Right, well, that's where you go.
I actually meant to say chloroform, and I went to Rohypnol.
I thought that's what you were going for.
That's what I meant, and I said Rohypnol instead, and I was like, wait, that's not right. Chloroform, the one you could just put in front of someone's face, that one.
Yeah, which isn't like a real thing you can do with chloroform, but
true, but movies and shit. Come on.
Artistic license, we'll go with it.
And they're bounty hunters, so I mean, they might be using some chloroform.
There is almost certainly going to be at least one. Do you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if the gag in the episode when they do that is that chloroform doesn't actually work like that, and they didn't realize.
Oh yeah, that would be a potentially funny joke. So we also got a release date finally for something that's been in the works for years at Netflix. So we've been talking about this for a long time, and that is the Ryan Murphy produced Ratched, which is the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest prequel. Starring Sarah Paulson. So that's going to be coming out on September 18th. It's got a poster as well, a couple of images if you want to go check that out. So I'm curious. I like the movie a lot. Now, admittedly, I like the movie because of the heart and because of the journey of the characters. I don't necessarily know if I care about a prequel about one of the characters.
That's fair. I've never actually watched the film. I'm familiar with all the beats because it's in culture as a whole. Yeah. I've watched bits for reasons, but maybe I'll sit down and watch it before this airs.
Oh, the movie's well worth watching. Obviously, the movie is actually based on a book, so obviously this all comes from that in the first place. But it's kind of a weird one, especially since Nurse Ratched, which I'll be honest, when I watched the movie, I thought her name was Nurse Ratched with a T at the end. I never realized it was a D until they started talking about the show, and I went, "Oh, her name is Ratched, not Ratchet."
Yeah, I'm with you.
Fair enough, but I'm curious. I'll check it out, but I'm very skeptical of this kind of sure, maybe we'll get the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Better Call Saul. Maybe that's what we'll get. But I'm not feeling
impossible.
Hopeful. I'm not feeling hopeful. I feel like Ryan Murphy. I don't know if I'm going to. I don't know what nuanced take he's going to have in a mental hospital. I feel like.
I don't know, but he's a very versatile creator.
That's fair.
Like the amount of stuff you've got. American Horror Story to Glee. Right? It's a diverse portfolio of work. So maybe you can pull something off.
Yep. So, yes, we get an origin story for a character that many may have said didn't need an origin story, but I mean that's kind of the world we live in now, isn't it? So we'll see how it goes. But we'll definitely check out the first episode if nothing else, and that's coming September 18th. So getting content for some September. also briefly mention here, we have a date, which is also September 18th, for the Netflix Jurassic Park animated series. This is Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, if you remember this was a thing.
I had completely forgotten this existed.
Yeah, 8-episode cartoon series from DreamWorks Animation and Universal Pictures and Amblin Entertainment. Yeah, so that's coming. I mean, honestly,
strange double feature, but sure, why not?
Honestly, like as far as like turning it into a kids' cartoon goes, I mean, Jurassic Park's a pretty solid idea. You know,
there have been far worse.
You know, I don't know exactly what the story is with this, but like do you ever see the movie Dunstan Checks In?
No. Should I have?
I didn't need to, but it was a kids' movie. It was set in a hotel. So the main kid, the main character was a kid, and his dad was like the hotel manager. So they lived in the hotel, and you know there was kind of a fun of watching as a kid. Like, oh, well, imagine living in a hotel and having all this building to explore and blah blah. And the plot of the movie, which is irrelevant to this, is that he ends up with a monkey, and it's the whole comedy with him and the monkey.
Sure. Yeah.
Monkey being called Dunstan. Well, the reason why I'm thinking of this is I'm thinking like, what if like the main characters in a Jurassic Park cartoon were the kids of like people who like ran the park, and it was about their adventures. They always get into trouble, like running off and seeing dinosaurs and shit. I don't know. Like there's potential there.
Work. Yeah, I get that.
Kids get into mischief in Jurassic Park
because it's like its own island, so you would live there with your family. That could work.
I don't think that's the premise, though. I'm just.
But it should be, is what you're saying.
I'm just pitching things. Here's what the actual premise is. It follows a group of 6 teenagers chosen for a once-in-a-lifetime experience at the new adventure camp on the opposite side of Isla Nublar. When the dinosaurs wreak havoc across the island, the campers are unable to reach the outside world and quickly will go from strangers to friends and family as they band together to survive. So. Kind of more of a typical. I mean, all on the fact that they've won a competition or whatever to like do this.
They get golden tickets by the sound of it.
Yeah, but they come to visit the park and things go wrong. It's
Jurassic Park, is what you're saying.
Yes. So, yeah, my idea was better, but hey, they've already done the whole thing at this point.
This is ready to go. Yeah. It's already animated. So what are you gonna do?
Yes, maybe this will teach them in the future to consult. With me.
Consult a real professional, is that what you're saying?
Yes. All right, next up. More Premiere Windows in this case. CBS All Access are talking about they're the Stand limited series, the Stephen King show. The Richard Linklater animated rescue docu-series, and an original series called The Man Who Fell to Earth, which is based on the book that also was turned into the movie. And of course, they've also got the Harper House and Guilty Party. So these are all kind of being bandied about for this year. They're all coming 2020. And the ones that we kind of care a bit more about, I think, The Stand. So that's coming late 2020. So we're probably expecting November, December for that, I would say.
Interesting that it's going to cross over probably very briefly with Discovery then.
Yeah, very potentially, yeah.
Given that's 13 episodes, and that's starting mid-October, that takes it to more or less the end of the year.
It makes sense to want a few things a week, though, not just the.
No, it does, but it's that's a refreshing change because I don't think we've ever even paid attention to anything on All Access that wasn't Trek.
True. And then The Man Who Fell to Earth, the series based on the Walter Tevis novel, and also the cult classic 1976 film. That's coming. Oh, sorry. Those all three are coming 2021. So it's only the Richard Linklater docu-series and The Stand that are coming 2020. The others are all coming early 2021. So Guilty Party, by the way, is a half-hour dark comedy starring and executive produced by Isla Fisher. So
okay.
Yeah. So
it's got some pedigree in there, I guess.
Some ginger pedigree.
It's what matters most.
Oh, is it? I feel like I've not seen Isla Fisher on anything for ages.
No, I'm not sure I have either.
It's been a while. I feel like I realised her and Amy Adams weren't the same person, and then she fell off the face of the earth. That was weird.
Look, not all gingers look the same.
I'm not saying they do. I'm saying those two. They don't even look that similar. Don't. It was just that in my head, I just thought they were the same person.
Yeah, they don't look that similar, barring the same hair colour. And roughly same stylish a lot of the time.
No, they got a similar like height and build, I suppose, but like they don't look anything alike. It's just in my head, it'd been long enough. Whenever I thought of like what they'd been in before, it'd been long enough since I'd seen it that I just thought, oh yeah, this is that one. It was in that thing. And then one day realized that Amy Adams and Isla Fisher are not the same person, and Isla Fisher was never in Smallville.
Can you imagine?
That was Amy Adams who was in Smallville, and was also on an episode of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. While we're on the subject,
yeah, which I assume she didn't have to wear a terrible fat suit for Buffy.
No, she did not. No, she was Tara's sister or cousin. I think it was cousin. When Tara's family showed up.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So next up. So this is a bit of casting for the Sweet Tooth series that Netflix are doing, which isn't that exciting because I don't know who Dania Ramirez is off the top of my head. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is just to remind everyone that there's a Sweet Tooth series coming from Netflix, because it's been so long since they've really kind of like mentioned it, but also because of how they're like shooting this soon. So there's an interesting detail here that I thought was worth mentioning.
Go on. That'd be interesting.
So the actual news is that Dania Ramirez has been cast in it, but what was interesting here is that they're going to shoot this in New Zealand, which, as most of you will know, handled the pandemic very well and
are basically fine now.
Yes, are basically just over it. So, and there's been a lot of companies that are trying to get permits to go and shoot stuff in New Zealand because it's safe to go shoot things there. Right? And this is in contention. The deal's not went through yet to make it official. But it did mention that if they are granted access to shoot there, that the entire cast and crew that are travelling there to shoot have to go into a 2-week quarantine before they can start shooting, just to make sure they're all okay.
Pretty normal, I think, in a lot of countries right now. So that's reasonable.
I just thought it's interesting, though, just to consider that anything that is shooting in New Zealand, anything that's getting that permission, everyone is going through like a incubation period where it's like, no, we're just making sure that none of you have got this.
Because they're doing it in all walks of life. Like, for example, when the snooker came back a couple of weeks ago, for the tournament, they had the venue they were playing in was actually attached to a hotel. Every player had to, every referee had to stay in that hotel. They had to come down 2 weeks before. They all had to get tested. They had to wait in the hotel. They weren't allowed to leave. All their meals were brought in. And that was it until the tournament finished, until they got knocked out. That was it. They were there, and it's like, man, it's got to be surreal as an experience, right?
Snooker's getting more violent. I didn't realize you get knocked out. That
was terrible.
Do we do that with the balls or with the cues? Like, what are they hitting each other with?
Depends on who's on the table.
Who's on the table? That's sounding kind of erotic. All right. So. Moving on to the new shows and development. So we have Damon Wayans Jr. is reuniting with cult series creator David Casp and former writers Matthew and Daniel Liebman for a half-hour bounty hunter action comedy, which has received a script-to-series commitment at Peacock. That's the thing we have to say now. I have to say Peacock.
So Peacock are about 2 years behind Netflix, is what you're saying.
That's kind of, yes. Well, he's not a teenage girl, though.
Well, no, but just,
So, yeah, written by the Liebman brothers, the action comedy revolves around a struggling married couple who become bounty hunters. A married couple? That's way different than a set of twins.
I feel like I've seen this movie already. I really feel like I've seen this movie.
You may have done. Oh, 429 to my request. Refresh. There we go. So, next up, more Peacock goodness, if you will.
Can we just, while we're on Peacock, and this is relevant to one of the news stories earlier, I believe this was Peacock. They launched with the Jurassic Park movies.
I'm familiar with this story, yes.
And then they lost them 8 days later because Netflix.
The one positive that I always had when I was talking about everyone, at least all the major studios launching their own services, is that there'd be a permanent home for like all Universal movies would be on their service, and Peacock is Universal's. And the fact that they lost their own movies after 8 days, not a month, not 6 months, not a year, after 8 days of running,
I think
is shockingly like shambles.
So far, Disney Plus, I think, is the only one who's really delivered on that. Not that I'm saying they've had everything on there all the time, but they've been adding stuff, and I don't think they've removed much.
No, they did lose a couple of things because they lost like a couple of the Home Alone movies or something like that.
Yeah, I think they lost a couple of things. Although I suspect they'll be back come November, December.
Well, it depends when the deals end that are keeping them away, because that was the issue.
True, yeah.
It's not like they're just taking them off because this will be a big event when we bring them back at Christmas.
I mean, that is a very Disney move to do, given their history with their vault.
HBO Max are rotating things in and out.
They've been really bad for it, though.
The whole thing's a mess. Like this makes everyone not want these streaming services, right? This makes me like this is why, like, for me, Netflix and Amazon, like, okay, some random movies are nice, but I'm there for the original content. Like, this makes me just want to rent and buy movies because they're all available, right? I don't have to worry about where they are. There's no complex issues.
Until like these services are providing us with original content that we care about.
Also, this is a get on my soapbox here because I want to complain about something.
Sure,
so,
go ahead. Why not? We're here now.
For Screams After Midnight this week, I had to watch the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which is a depressing story in and of itself. But that's not the point of this. The point is that I checked, is it on any service? Like, do they have to go rent it or whatever? And it turned out that in the UK at least, it was on both Netflix and Amazon. And I went, that's annoying. They've both paid for access to that at the same time. Like, that's a waste. One of them could be showing something else that's not available, right? But I'm like, whatever.
The one thing I would say though is maybe it was dirt cheap because it's a shit movie, and they were like, just put it on there. It looks like content.
But the point I'm trying to make is that I chose Amazon to watch it on because Amazon have typically better bit rates than Netflix do, and I care about those things.
Not for audio though, interestingly. Not exclusively. I've had a lot of issues on Amazon with audio in the past.
Amazon typically have Dolby Digital Plus, which is better than what Netflix usually churn out.
In a lot of their newer stuff, and in
anyway,
terms of
let's not go down
original...
this path, right? We're deviating from the point I'm trying to make. This is irrelevant. The point I'm trying to make is that I go to watch Nightmare on Elm Street 2010, and I'm watching it, right? And I actually started on Netflix, switched over to Amazon, and then I had to switch back to Netflix, right? I'm not get the why I was on Netflix at first and had to transfer was okay. The reason why I'm getting...
I like how my interruption was
confused.
Unnecessary and irrelevant. Yet this whole story exists.
I was trying to smooth this out to skip some steps, but I don't know if I can to explain how I noticed this. There was a technical reason why I was switching an extra time, but the second time I switched was because of what I'm complaining about. So basically, the first part is that if you're watching something on Netflix on the app on Windows, if you have a monitor that runs higher than 60 Hz, then Netflix freaks out and plays stuff at a really weird frame rate.
Does it not give you an option to adjust? Like when I use like a Power DVD to play Blu-rays on my PC, it'll be like, do you want us to make sure the refresh rate matches? Does Netflix app not give you an option?
Does not do that. No, it just plays it back, and it's just kind of it's like there's like it's like it's struggling with the frame rate like a video game.
I'll be honest, I don't use the Netflix app on the PC because I think it's terrible. I actually use Edge is the best version I've found.
Aye, right. Can I get to the point here?
It is, yeah. Just for future reference.
Right. So anyway, so that's why I ultimately had to switch to
Amazon.
Okay. Right. Okay. I'm just going to tell it in order, right? This is going to be way easier to tell it in order. Right.
Just go. Go on, then.
I started on Amazon for the bit rate, but because I was watching it on stream with people, there was no subtitles on Amazon. I thought, I like having the subs on, which is weird for a mainstream movie, by the way. Given that Amazon sometimes gives me subtitles for these weird direct-to-video things from like 1982.
Can I just do an insert on Amazon subtitles?
Uh-huh.
The last 3 Japanese movies I have watched on Amazon, the subtitles have gone horrifically out of sync, like 30-40 seconds out of sync. They don't start that way, they just get that way over the video. And I've spoken to a few other people who've had this problem as well. I don't know what is going on with Amazon subtitles, but sort your shit out.
Out of curiosity, what were you watching it on? Was it on a device or on a computer?
On the computer. Although my friend who had this problem watched it on the PS4 app, so it's on the actual baked into the content.
I would have suspected it was a computer issue, maybe similar to why Netflix's frame rate messes up. But anyway, So okay, no subtitles. I want subtitles. Let me just quickly check to see if Netflix has subtitles, because I'll just flip over to Netflix. So I flip over to Netflix with subtitles. All right, and it's playing, and I noticed this frame rate thing, and I'm like, this is annoying. This looks off. There's something weird about this. What's going on? And I'm like, you know what? I'll just switch back to Amazon, because I mean I can handle with no subtitles, whatever. But it plays smoothly, fine, right? Because I'm playing Amazon through the browser, not through an app. I go back to Amazon, and after a minute, I'm like, wait a minute. This wasn't 235 on Netflix. Why? This is filling the screen. Amazon's was cropped. It was cropped to fill 16:9 TVs like a crappy TV channel would do it. And I'm like, oh, this is not on. I can't watch this in the wrong aspect ratio. I don't even care how bad the movie is. It's principles. The principle that matter will not let me do this. So I had to look up, I was like, okay, Netflix app on Windows, why is it acting funny with the frame rate? And I got a result pretty quickly. You have to set your whatever
set your display settings for the monitor.
Well, the thing is, I wasn't even watching it on the monitor that was that refresh. If you have any monitor hooked up to your PC that's running at a different refresh rate, it'll affect the Netflix app. It doesn't matter which one you're watching it on. Because I was watching it on the TV that I've got connected.
There
to
was
the computer.
I think it was Peacock that if you have.
So can I sum up? So to sum up, I started on Amazon. I went to Netflix. I went back to Amazon, only to finally say I have to go back to Netflix because Netflix have the correct aspect ratio. The point of which I'm trying to make is that streaming services cannot be trusted with having the correct versions of movies. And this is as simple as the aspect ratio being wrong. This is the sort of crap that we had to put up with TV channels putting movies on in the mid-2000s, and it's just not on. I'm sick of this bullshit. And it makes me worry that, and clearly a lot of movies you watch on streaming services are in the right aspect ratio because there's so many times that everything seems fine. But it makes me wonder, like, how many random movies here or there have I watched that should have been wider and weren't?
No, I agree, and they have a lot of shitty inferior versions. The first time I watched Mulholland Drive, it was on Amazon Prime. I thought, okay. And I don't know what shitty version they uploaded, but the sound was horrifically compressed and distorted that it was unbearable. Like within 5 minutes, I was like, I can't do this. I just cannot do this. Surely this isn't right. I had to go and check that this isn't what it's supposed to sound like, right? It's so unpredictable, Amazon, I find, in terms of the quality. It depends on where they've sourced it from.
Yeah, part of it is that streaming is not this great solution that's fills all the problem. And then of course there's just the problem of certain movies that no one has the rights to, so there's just no way to stream it. So you have to either go rent it, and then sometimes there's not even renting rights anywhere. So the only way to actually get the movie is to track down the physical Blu-ray or whatever.
Which in a future may not be an option.
But at a certain point it might not be an option, and we might be in the same situation with video games where piracy might actually be the only way to keep certain things in availability.
I am nearly certain right now there are movies from the VHS era that you can only watch by downloading an illegal copy right now. There are no digital versions to rent. There are no streaming things, and no one has a VHS player anymore.
It's called a VCR.
I know it is, but for the youngsters.
No, there's definitely tons of movies that never even made it to DVD. And what's funny about that is that obviously, they're all pretty small things that most people don't care about, and that's why they never made it there. But for people who are older, who actually grew up with certain things that they want access to, it's kind of frustrating. Anyway, let's get back on topic and move to the news, because I don't want to be here all day. Telling that whole story. My quick tangent took 5 times as long to tell because Connor kept interrupting with tangents based on things I was saying. So
they were more interesting.
No, they were not. People were into my story, and I'm fully confident in that fact. Let's move on. Netflix are doing a Splinter Cell animated, or an anime to be specific, which, Ubisoft sucks, anime suck, I don't want any part of this.
Where's my Assassin's Creed series, you dicks?
Oh, that sounds even more boring.
You would think that.
Sounds even more boring.
Just give me an anthology of anime series for Assassin's Creed, just different assassins each season.
What's funny is that this is the one franchise that Ubisoft have not touched in a while, so fans of it are clamoring for a new game, and instead of a new game they get an anime announcement. So
I think there's some Splinter Cell in that new whatever that shitty mobile thing that they announced was, with all different characters that Ubisoft own. And they're like, see, Splinter Cell. I'm like, that doesn't count.
Yeah. I vaguely remember this actually, but apparently there's a movie that had Tom Hardy attached that's technically been in the works for years, but I mean, at this point, it's just not there.
It's just
anymore.
not happening. Yeah. Production hell.
Yeah. Development hell's the term, but okay.
It is, but whatever.
Kevin Smith's doing something. What's he doing?
I know what this is.
He's reuniting with the Green Hornet in a new animated series. Did he do the Green Hornet movie?
No, I think he's written some of the comics. I don't know if he did the movie. Maybe he did do the movie, but I know he's written comics.
I didn't think he did, but I mean, it's been so long since that movie came out. Yeah, it's not like I was paying much attention to it. So.
It wasn't a particularly great movie, and you know, I'm a Kevin Smith fan, and even if that was a Kevin Smith movie, some of his weaker work, if that's the case.
Yeah, so it's another animated series. So yeah,
he wrote right now.
He wrote the script for the movie in 2004. Okay. So, he wrote a script for a movie in 2004 that never get made.
So we can't even hold him responsible for that movie.
No. Seth Rogen actually wrote the script for the movie he was in 2011. So,
well, it's all his fault. Okay.
So Kevin Smith is a fan of the Green Hornet, obviously, and is finally getting a chance to sort of do something with it. So he's doing an animated series. It's targeting a family audience, and set in contemporary times following the adventures of a reimagined Green Hornet and Kato. Now the grown son of the original Green Hornet and the daughter of the original Kato. So it's like a legacy thing. As they partner to battle crime in Century City. It will also feature the Green Hornet's ultra high-tech car, Black Beauty.
That's kind of cool. I mean, you know, just as a little animated show. Why not?
Yeah. Isn't Black Beauty also a horse?
It is, yes.
That's what I think of when I hear Black Beauty. But
I do too.
Yeah. Before we get to the dramas, there's not actually a lot. I'm sure I've done this earlier, but I will take this time to thank our Patreon producers for the month of July. This is actually the last time we recorded in July, so this list might be different next time I say it. So where is my post-it note? Oh, it's not even up. Oh my god, I'm just going to have to do it from memory. Alright, thank you very much to David Sharp, Tyler Hess, Alison M. Fordyce, Cindy Palacios, Zammer Jammer, and Board Now. They're all Patreon producers at $20 or above, which is why they're producers. But you can, of course, support us over at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV for as little as $1 per month and get some bonuses for your trouble, including early access to stuff at the $5 tier. The $1 tier gets you bonus episodes of some of our movie podcasts, and there's a whole other bunch of stuff you can go and have a look at. But that is that. So, yes, feel free.
I hope you forgot someone, just so you'll have to feel bad.
6 names, got it right.
Okay.
No doubt. I just like having the list to read off because it's...
Safety net.
Yeah, it's safer, yeah. So yeah, moving on to the dramas, of which we have 4. So yeah, this one is, I'm going to call this one too early. I'm going to call this too early. So basically, Adam McKay and HBO are developing a limited series based on an article by The Atlantic and New York Times writer Brendan Burrell. It's called The First Shot, and it's about the search for a vaccine for the ongoing pandemic, which I think is maybe a bit early to be doing something about this, given that we've not actually found one yet.
Yes, too soon is what people usually say here, rather than too early. I know the point's the same, but too soon is a commonly accepted term.
No. See, I think this is different. Too soon is what you use when something is too sensitive because the bad things just happened. This is not that. This is still ongoing. We're not actually out of it yet. So this is literally too early.
I would still argue that hundreds of thousands of deaths is too soon.
That's irrelevant in this case, though.
Is it?
Yeah, it's because it's still ongoing. It doesn't matter what the end result of any of this is. We're not at the end result. We're still in the middle of it. This is like making a World War II movie in 1940. It's stupid.
Are you saying they didn't?
I mean, they might have knocked up some quick propaganda stuff, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Not like this is meant to be this kind of limited series looking like, you know, what are all the research places doing to develop a vaccine.
It reminds me of, and it was quite funny. There was a Brexit documentary, like an actual documentary, and it was supposed to have the last day of filming on the day it was originally going to come into place, and it was to be released the following week, like days later. Like they were editing it all as they went along. They were just like, we just need the last bit, on the last day, and then we'll be done. And then we got to the last day, and they delayed it, and they were like, well, we've been promoting this documentary for like a month now. We still got to release it, and just be like, I guess it's not over. Like, why?
Part 2 coming soon. To be continued. Just throw that on there at the end. So yeah, this is kind of a weird thing. I mean, I don't. Is anyone going to want to watch anything about this right now? I mean, I guess maybe because the chase for a cure, maybe that's like a hopeful thing. Maybe that'll get people to want to watch it. But
not if we don't have one.
But it feels like a weird thing though, because let's say so this is written soon. They start making it. By the time they finish shooting whatever this is, like maybe there will be some news of a vaccine. Maybe there'll be like a lot of new details that like, oh hey, this is suddenly extremely out of date. All of a sudden. Which is why you don't make movies about the news while the news is still happening.
I agree. It's a bit of a stupid idea.
Alright, next up. Showtime's developing an hour-long drama from Brian Grazer, Terrence Winter, and Nicholas Pileggi. It'll be produced by Showtime and Imagine Television Studios. It's written by Boardwalk Empire creator Winter. The Untitled series is inspired by Pileggi's in-depth chronology of organized crime in America, which is also the history of corruption in America, as seen through the eyes of Mafia's first family. So, Showtime wants their Sopranos. Basically.
Yeah, I am rather uninterested.
Yes. Well, there's not a lot in that description to give it any flavor. It's just, we're doing a crime thing.
Yeah, Mafia stories tend to not be for me, like, at all. Even like the big famous ones, I don't care for them. So I'll be surprised if I end up liking this.
Alright, next up. Sony Pictures Television has acquired the rights to David Henry Sterry's memoir, Master of Ceremonies, A True Story of Love, Murder, Roller Skates, and Chippendales. To develop it as a series, Emmy-nominated Gordon Smith from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I mean, obviously I wasn't running those shows because I don't know his name. If it said Vince Gilligan, I'd be like, oh, hello.
But that would be different, yeah.
Yeah. He's going to pen the show, he's going to add the adaptation and showrun the project. The memoir of Sterry's time as the MC at the world-famous male strip club is a window into the girls just want to have fun, greed is good, party all the time, coked-up world of 1980s America through the eyes of Manhattan's hottest show, Chippendales, where women rule the roost and men get rich and famous, or infamous. So, it'll be a semi-fictionalized premium television series, and yeah, so it's about this. It's a male strip club drama. So
yeah,
maybe with some humor, I could see sprinkled in there, or maybe this could just be outright the Deuce sort of style.
It could be. Like I say, on premise, I'm not like super interested, but that doesn't mean that when I see some of it, I couldn't be. I'm more open to this than I was the last one.
This is the sort of one where like it's down to the writing, direction, all those the cinematic qualities, the meat on the bone, as it were. So we'll wait and see on that one. But that's Master of Ceremonies, A True Story of Love, Murder, Roller Skates, and Chippendales. I assume that the show will not take the full title.
Probably not. That was a bit of a mouthful.
Yes. Well, we always see this with books, though, right?
Yeah, they take like one little snippet from it.
Yeah.
Books just need short titles, is what we're saying.
So, cool. And then the final story of the week, a network show, which we always like, right?
Go on, hit me.
So ABC has bought for development The Women, a thriller drama from writers Jennifer Johnson and Glenn Porter. Aaron Kaplan's Kaplan Entertainment, of course, are producing.
Couldn't get through a whole episode of this without them, could we?
No, we couldn't. The project, which is written on spec by Johnson and Porter, has received a script commitment plus penalty from the network. It's also ordered a backup script. Okay, interesting.
They're not confident?
I don't know. I've never seen the phrase backup script in one of these articles before, so I don't know exactly what that means. Just like a second pilot script? Or...
Yeah, I wonder if this is when they present, okay, here's our script, and and the pilot, if they don't like it, they're guaranteed a chance at rewrites and to try a second attempt.
Or maybe it's that they just have to show up with two versions, like, and they get to, like, here's our two concepts. Yeah.
We're unfamiliar with this terminology.
The Woman is described as a propulsive thriller about a conspiracy of powerful and dangerous women who attempt to take over the global power structure before male dominance leads us to ruin, using violence to end violence, corruption to end corruption, and destruction to end destruction.
I'm not sure how that works.
Fight fire with fire. I mean, it's just...
Yes, that always works and doesn't leave everything just burned down.
Actually, I'll have you know, firefighters actually do sometimes light strategic fires to direct the blaze and things of that nature.
That is not what that saying means, and you know it.
But it is a fact. They do it.
Still not what that means.
Alright, fine. You fight fire with water, typically. Depending on the fire. It depends what's burning, but...
Yeah, not if it's an electrical fire, you don't. That would be a terrible idea.
Or a chemical fire.
That too, yeah.
Well, it depends on the chemicals, I suppose, but most typically, that's it becomes very specific what you have to use.
Yeah. I paid attention in my health and safety courses.
Sand and boron.
Look at you.
That's what you use.
Get you.
Why did I know that?
Why do what show is it from?
That's Chernobyl, baby. Reactor 4's went.
It's been a while.
Like Azov needs there was like £2,000 of sand and boron. Chernobyl's great.
They should have just used one of those foam fire extinguishers. I bet that would have done the trick.
Oh, just the one for all of Chernobyl, sure.
Yeah. Well, did they try?
Just because the guy that looked like you from The Terror was the fireman on the front line, I'll agree with you.
Was he?
Send him in. Send him in. He can do it.
It's worth a try.
He ain't looking as much like you in that, though, because he had shaved his beard and...
Look, all I'm saying is, did they try it?
They tried many a thing.
Did they try the foam fire extinguishers? Was that in the show?
I don't remember if I specifically saw one of them with a foam fire extinguisher.
This is inexcusable. You need to do more research next time.
Oh my god. Alright. Well, bite me. This is what you get for making my aspect ratio Amazon saga last about 10 times longer than it needed to be.
I made it 10 times more interesting than it was going to be otherwise.
Alright, people love hearing me complain about aspect ratios. They love it. It's my calling card.
Yeah.
I'm the aspect ratio auteur.
Such a mouthful, even you can't say it.
Oh dear. I need one of the... I mean, you may not get this reference, but like I need one of those NWO style wrestling shirts, but instead of NWO, just AOR. Original aspect ratio underneath. That's what I need.
Okay, sure.
Alright, that's been the news. It's been... something. I don't know what to call...
There was some news in this.
I don't know what to call this episode of news. This is what happens when I insist on doing it weekly, even when there's not been anything exciting. But we somehow find a way to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, we could have finished like an hour ago. I could have gone to bed early. But here we are.
No bed for you.
Could have got ahead on some of my comics for tomorrow, but whatever.
No. This has been almost cancelled TV news. Let us know what you think. By the way, I'm also very tired today. I don't know if that was clear throughout this episode. I was kind of holding it together as best I could. It kind of buckled a little bit towards the end.
Only towards the end.
Only towards the end. Hey, I was immaculate for those first 20-30 minutes. So
not counting the first take where you messed up your intro.
They didn't have to know about that.
Well, now they do.
Look, I had one little hiccup, right? You know about hiccups.
Look, if you hadn't claimed to have been immaculate, I wouldn't have mentioned it.
It was immaculate on the finished episode, right? It was immaculate. It was
debatable.
I did it on the night, okay? Alright, so, yes. This has been almost cancelled TV news. Let us know what you think of any items that we've talked about in the comments. Please do like is very important on YouTube. It helps us out a lot. It's a nice, free and easy way to support everything we do. But of course you can do it not free as well. We mentioned Patreon earlier. Get some bonuses for $1 or so. But you can go over to Twitter at @mailed_fuzz for channel updates and general updates and ramblings and all sorts. But otherwise, that is us. We should mention that Umbrella Academy did just come back today, in fact, at the time of recording. The first review should already be up. We'll hopefully have that coming mostly every day, with the odd skip day here or there, depending on the schedule. For example, Thursday has both Shield and Doom Patrol to do, so there's a good chance there'll be no Umbrella Academy on the Friday because of that. As the one example. But that is basically it. Otherwise, though, thank you very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?